Moving on, though, one of the other interesting pieces of news that we saw really hot off the press, right? FBI's takedown of the Hive, just to put it out there. I didn't know what this was when I first saw it. It was amazing. I mean, just going to these sites and seeing, hey, this site was taken down by the FBI in relation to, the Hive group. It was really kind of a dramatic and very, very drastic visual, I guess, for me to see, the hackers taken down. I'm used to seeing it the other way. I'm used to seeing a corporate website being taken down, and I have to install a web app firewall or help a customer deploy a web app firewall to mitigate that sort of thing. But to actually see that the hack sites get taken down, it is such a great thing. You guys care to elaborate on thoughts on this one? For me, it's very exciting. Anyone? Bueller?
So I think it's a really impressive achievement is the word I'm looking for, because takedowns can be very difficult. And legitimate takedowns, there are many hosts out there who will just ignore takedown notices. So those who aren't working for law enforcement agencies can have, a terribly frustrating time trying to get simple phishing sites removed that are impersonating their systems. So the fact that the FBI has, en masse, it seems, gone round and hacked back, it's a great effort and an impressive end.
From what I read on it, it sounded like they really penetrated really deep into that the network. Sounds like they got involved in the social aspect of things a little bit and were able to gain a foothold like any other seasoned hacker would do. And I guess once you have penetrated down into the center, you should, in theory, be able to take everything out. Although that said, I'm not so sure we have seen the last of Hive, right? I mean, there were no arrests made was another thing that I read, which is that's tough. They're still out there.
Yeah, if the people are still out there, it's, you just spring back up, right? It's just start up your infrastructure in a new place under a slightly new name, then off we go again.
Retool.
Yeah. That's ultimately what the FBI didn't just want to take down these services, right? That's obviously that's a goal, but that's an intermediary goal on the way to actually getting these people who are behind these services behind bars and unable to stand up yet another service and continue this game of whack-a-mole. So my suspicion, and this is Brian talking, not F5, not any direct knowledge of anything. I haven't talked to any FBI agents, but what I suspect is that for as long as they were inside the Hive systems and able to, they did a lot of work in terms of getting decryption keys and protecting people who had already been owned, making sure that they got, the decryption key without paying them ransom. So they were able to do a lot of sort of, good Robin Hood style work being inside their systems. I think they went and burned this asset because let's go take down all these servers because we've been detected, right? The folks in the Hive figured out that somebody was inside their systems, inside their network, and said we need to start fleeing like roaches in the daylight. And so that's, my suspicion is that, they got detected, which, happens. Unfortunate that, no arrests just yet. Maybe they still have a trail they can follow, but good on the FBI. This is the kind of work, we hear about, we're as a nation, as a corporations in our nation, we're always being attacked by other nation states. And I hear a lot of disparaging comments in the general population in the media, like, why aren't we doing more to counteract these cyber threats, whether they're nation state threats or large organized crime units. And make no mistake, Hive was a large organized crime unit. When you're talking about $100 million in ransoms that they collected over the period of time they were in operation, that's an organized crime corporation. And so, great work there by the FBI, showing that we do have good cyber capabilities here in the U.S. Whether it's cyber warfare in our military branches or in our intelligence agencies like the FBI. We've got great cyber capability, and tie it back to the security B-sides message. There's lots of different ways you can get involved in this field. We've had, former FBI speak at F5 events. We've had them, at B-sides events. These are, I've talked to a lot of active agents in the FBI who are in the cyber affairs division. Really interesting stories from the front lines of people trying to do the good work of, rooting out cyber criminals and making sure that, again, make the internet a little bit safer place.
Yeah, we see this time and time again, don't we? Predominantly with organised crime and especially ransomware groups that kind of go quiet for a bit. They come back. They might have renamed in the meantime. It might be a different group taking on the previous name. They very rarely, if ever, go away completely. I don't think they ever get to the point where they think, do you know what? We've earned enough. We can retire and stop now. They're just going to keep going, and ultimately there'll be an influx of new, members that want to carry on and earn for themselves. Something I've kind of been saying recently, and it was in our last predictions piece we put out at the end of last year, was I think the kind of increasing need for geopolitical kind of pressure. And, clearly the likes of the FBI and actual task forces that can go and do hands-on proactive hacking back. Fantastic, and I think that needs to increase. But I think ultimately the thing that's going to have the real difference is each country, each nation's kind of government putting pressure and actually, putting pressure on these groups, closing them down, and enforcing kind of local, like legal rulings and prison time. And so that pressure needs to kind of be mounted from different governments onto each other, because at the moment, we kind of talk about cyberspace being this big open world, and it's all this one big flat, and it isn't. It's still borders and countries with their own rules and laws, and so we need other countries and local laws to put the bad guys away for us, basically.